Hi, jewells68 here for Talk to Me Tuesday on Tuesday, July 19th. Yes, I did see Harry Potter last week. My daughter and I went on Tuesday night to a early screening, and we're so excited to find out, even though it wasn't advertised as such, that it was 3D, and got our awesome little Harry special 3D glasses. That was very exciting. Gosh, the movie, wow, so many wow. What do you say, really? I think I've spoken with a couple of friends here in town that are also fans, and we seem to be experiencing what we've dubbed the post-Potter depression, because there was just so much anticipation and build-up coming up to this thing, and now it's over, and that's it. So anyway, we had a great time. We enjoyed the movie. One of the most awesome, fun things, even though it was very rowdy, and there was clearly some fans there that had only seen the movies and never read any of the books due to the audible gasps in various places in the film. And I don't know where I was going with that thought. Anyway, and the rowdiness, even when like the beginning of the movie started, there were still people talking and stuff like that. It was very quick to just go quiet, nothing. You could hear a pin drop, with the exception of when people were reacting at certain things happening on the screen. There was no talking on the phone because they took our phones away, but you weren't allowed to have a phone in there. But there was no talking. There were even two babies in the movie. That there was a little bit, tiny bit of, but that was it. And even that got quiet. You would think, as loud a movie as this was, that there would have been crying babies, and there were no crying babies. It was quiet. And so the end of the movie, applause, everyone is applauding, and right when the applause stops, a little boy somewhere in the theater, I don't know where he was, just yells, "Harry Potter!" really loud. And it was like it just released all of this tension, you know, that everybody just laughed, and it was fun. So it was a fun experience. I did it on very little sleep, so that was not easy for me, but it was a great experience. I'm looking forward to a time when I can talk to people like Oph and Jen and other friends about the movie and the things we loved and the things we hated and everything. But I'm not going to go into any details about the movie itself, because I'm sure there may be still some people who haven't seen it. So anyway, crafts. On to crafts. Project of Doom. I have not made any new blocks. I'm way behind, but I did try to embroider my very first block, pod block number 1. And I need to get the rest of the paper off this block, but I haven't done it yet. But anyway, I suppose I should take a picture. It'll be easier to read. Hopefully people will be able to read this title. I don't know. I'm hoping. I'll take a photo, and maybe it'll come through. If you can hear that, that sounds like an airplane in here, that's a fan because it's really hot in here. Because I have the door shut, and so there's no air coming in, because we don't have central air in my house. We just have an evaporative cooler that's on the roof, and it blows through one vent in the hallway, and ceiling fans in all the rooms to like circulate the air. Our house is really old, so you'll have to bear with me, but it's hot. Last night I cut the binding for the baby quilt. That is here. I need to sew those together and press them. And then I will be almost ready to sew on the binding. I still need to trim it down But the baby quilt is quilted. I hold in my hand the fully quilted baby quilt, and I quilted it on my Kenmore. I do not have a walking foot, and that was not a problem. Did have a bit of a hitch. I was really focused on what I was doing when I was machine quilting, and at one point, I should have been done ages ago, but at one point I was working on it on my lunch break, and I'd come home, and my daughter had come in to ask me a question, and I'd gotten distracted when I turned around to talk to her for a minute, and forgotten that my presser foot was up, and started to sew, and broke my needle, and it came with the machine when I inherited it, and I wasn't sure. I mean, there were all these things in the manual, don't use a different needle, don't use a different needle, and I was all paranoid. Tried one of my Schmetz needles, and it was still making the horrible ka-thonk noise, and so and it wouldn't go. And I was like, well, crap, I've broken my machine. What do I do now? And what I did now was, what I did then was take the whole bobbin assembly, shuttle assembly, or whatever that goes in there. It has this whole complex thing for putting the bobbin in. And there's a thing that holds the bobbin, the shuttle, and the shuttle assembly, and I swear it's like a freaking car. I mean, there's so many parts on this thing. Anyway, fortunately there's a good manual and lots of pictures, so I took that all apart, and I blew it with a can of air and put it back together, and took the needle out and put it back in, the Schmetz, and it worked. Yay! So, here we have the quilted baby quilt. And the last thing I have done to it, which I did last night, was my little book I've got here, the Carol Doak, Your First Quilt Book, or it should be, is what it says. It said, it recommended stitching just like 1/8 of an inch from the edge of the border after you take all your pins out, and before you trim the batting and stuff off, so I still haven't trimmed the batting off. I have to do that. So I have to trim the batting off, and I have to sew my binding together, trim it, and press it, and then sew my binding, and then I'm done. So here is this the top? Yes. Here is the quilt, and I will take a picture. But here is the quilt. And here is the quilting on the back. And this was suggested by Open Jen, and it turned out to be really, really awesome, so thank you, Jen. 1/4 inch on the inside of this seam right here. I did a 1/4 inch on the inside of this seam and a 1/4 inch on the outside of this seam. And that made these cute little squares on the back, double squares. And then the sashing, I did the same thing on the sashing. I did a 1/4 inch on either side of the seams. And then I did the same thing on the border, a 1/4 inch on either side of the seam, and I really liked how it came out. I'm really tired. I need to go to bed. I think it's because it's so hot. It's making me sleepy. But I made it another Tuesday. I almost forgot. Anything else exciting happening? Not really. Friday. Oh, I'm going to see Bob Dylan Thursday night. My husband and I are going to see Bob Dylan, one of our favorite artists. This will be our 4th time seeing him together, I think, since we have gotten together. And 3 out of those 4 has been in the same amphitheater here in Albuquerque, so it'll be neat. It's been a few years since we've gotten to see him, so we're very excited about that. And we're going to see Bob Dylan Thursday night. I took a personal day on Friday, and I'm off next week. So I have no excuse not to get a video done next week. Spend some quality time with my darling daughter. Friday on my personal day, I will be taking her to the high school to get pre-registered for high school. She starts high school. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great week. Bye. Batting that I had, I don't know what I was just looking for. I think I thought this bin right here was my cat, and it's not my cat.